It's uncharted territory for you right now. But rest assured, if you can stick to the prescription, to stay prayed up, you are praying all the time, you are in the word. Everything you are doing, you know, this is lined up to my generation. I'm not interested in measuring up to what people are doing. I'm not interested in looking like people I see on social media. I'm not interested in driving a fancy car because I'm not yet there. This is my lane. This is my territory. I'm not quite there yet, and you are not afraid of that. Because guess what? You are hearing it from people who have been there. We went into uncharted territory. People laughed at us. I remember one person saying, are you sure that God called you? Are you sure? And they answered very nicely, polite voice of the devil. Are you sure God called you? Are you sure God said you should start that business? Are you sure that that is the best wife for you? Are you sure that that's the best husband for you? Are you sure that's the right church? You know, with these prophets, are you sure? Are you sure? Kind voice, polite voice of the devil. Beware, captains, when you get into uncharted territory. Captains should never be moved when they get into uncharted territory. They don't listen to what people say. You stick to the prescription. You have a prescription here in the Word of God. If captains in the world are regulated by the International Maritime Organization, and they stick to that prescription, they know we have a code that we stick to. And as long as I stick to this code, I'm okay. What if you were a child of God? We have a code that is the Word of God. We are regulated by the Word of God. If you can just stick to the prescription that is the Word of God, stick to it. Stick to it. You will come back with a testimony. For sure. It is a guarantee you will come back with a testimony. And so when you see us here, it's not like we haven't experienced uncharted territory. We've been there. We've done that. We've already done that. Uncharted territory. Imagine if Prophet Angel had listened to the people that said, why are you starting this ministry? Did God really call you? If he had listened to those people, you certainly wouldn't be watching me right now. You wouldn't be watching me right now. The people who have given their lives to Christ in this ministry right now, they wouldn't be saved. You say, oh, maybe another church will have, I'm sure somebody else will have made sure that they're saved. You don't know that for sure. You don't know that. It's not a guarantee. You don't know that. There is a reason why Spirit Embassy had to be. If this entire ministry was ordained for just one person to be saved, then it is worth it 100%. And we know for sure it's not just one person who gave their life to Christ here. So many thousands upon thousands have given their life to Christ. So we are talking about a captain who has been there and done that. He has done it, and he came up victorious. He came out victorious. Because you know Spirit Embassy now. This is exactly what we are, and this is what we do. And I also remember our man of God getting into even finances. We started businesses when nobody was starting businesses. While other people were asleep, we were starting businesses. While other men slept, we were starting businesses. And this is way back, many, many years ago. And he said, I am going to be a business owner. I don't want to work for anybody. And so I'm going to start my own business. And so a captain has to have the ability to also go not only uncharted territory, you have to have the ability to go through storms. When your ship encounters a storm, you know how to navigate the storm. That's a generational captain. And so he said, no, I am starting my own business, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And it sounded so far-fetched. When we were still dating, he had the house we would live in. He drew it by hand. It wasn't even a sharp drawing. It was just a sketch. And he said, okay, so this is the house we're going to live in, and we're going to have this on the inside of the house. I want an indoor garden, and I also want a fountain. This is what we were discussing when we were still dating. Somebody who understood, I'm fixing generations here. I'm not just a regular guy. I'm not just a regular woman. I am fixing generations tonight. Somebody who understands that generations are waiting for me to manifest. This is the kind of man of God we have. And so he said, this is the kind of house we are going to live in. And guess what? Years later, about 10 years later, we actually bought a house. And you know the house. We actually bought a property. This is now years later. And when we got the house, one day I was sitting in the house. And then I looked around and I said, wait, hang on a minute. This is a house with an indoor garden, water features. Where did I hear about this before? And I called my husband immediately. I said, this is the house. I said, the house we are living in now. Remember, this is your house. The house that you drew on paper. You said you wanted a garden. Here is the garden. You said you wanted a fountain. Here is the fountain. Oh, come on, somebody. We are talking about generational captains here. You can speak things and they have no choice but to happen. You can speak things and they will happen according to your word. That's a generational captain. You see afar. You don't see the lack of rent right now. You don't see the bailiff. You don't see the bills. You don't see none of it. You see afar. You see generations to come. You see your children's children enjoying the things you have created as the generational captain. You see far. This is the problem with many Christians. You don't have the vision to see afar. You see, when a captain is standing at the helm of his ship, he takes that binoculars and then he is looking afar. He has to know how to see things from afar. He's trained to see from the eyes of his binoculars. He can see further than anybody else. And then he can say, right, we are steering our ship more to the left. Now let's go. Here are the new coordinates. We are going to go in this direction. He knows what to do because he's trained in that. He's trained in having vision, unlike anyone else on the ship. When you are a generational captain, you don't see what others see. You don't see the problems that are before you. You don't see the lack of rent. You don't see the minus bank balance. You don't see all of that. You see afar. You see your organizations that you are going to have. You see the child that the doctor said you will never have. You see yourself holding on to that baby. You see yourself pushing a stroller in the park with your baby. You see afar. You see afar. That's the ability of a generational captain. You see what others don't see. You see yourself walking into this multi-million-dollar company with your name written on it.